Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. This is Janie Charlo, your host, and welcome back. I'm excited about this podcast. It's been a few weeks coming, but we finally got it together. I'm speaking with Jalisa Hardy. Okay, Jalisa is a mother, a minister, a holistic health practitioner, an author, and a human design expert. So we're going to tap into all of that. But Jaleesa, welcome to the podcast. And just introduce yourself. Just give our listeners a little bit more about who you are and why you're on this journey.
Yes. So I'm also known as the Golden Child. We can start there.
That's right, the golden
And
yes.
yes, where that came from is my conception story. When my mom conceived me, my mother and father were in the process of getting a divorce. And of course, being grown and still doing grown people things, I was conceived as the quote unquote oops baby.
Hmm.
And we all know nothing happens by mistake. It was definitely meant for me to be here.
Exactly.
My mom had challenges with fertility prior to, having me. She had my sister prematurely. My sister was born at 4 pounds, 4 ounces, and she had three miscarriages prior to me. So her
Wow.
pregnancy journey was very challenging. And they told her at 4 months in that, when they do all those different tests, they said your baby's going to have Down syndrome. That was the first blow. She already had to be sutured. Her cervix had to be sutured in order to potentially carry the pregnancy full term. And then 6 months into the pregnancy, they told her, we have some issues, some more challenges with your pregnancy. Your baby's going to be born without a stomach, and her esophagus and windpipe are going to be fused together.
Wow.
If you want to continue this pregnancy, which one of the nurses recommended an abortion, being the quote unquote best option, because if she was to make it full term with her pregnancy, I would need multiple surgeries to even have a chance at making it, at, having a certain quality of life, even with the health challenges. And my mom said, you know what? I see the test results. I see the ultrasound. I see everything that you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I hear your recommendations. She said, but I'm believing for a different outcome.
Hmm.
And she, being a woman of faith, she went to church. She went to a revival and let them know what was going on, had them pray over her. And she said the only thing she remembers is feeling like she was being lifted off of her feet and that God was pouring gold into her stomach. And when she went back to the doctor's office, they reran all the tests and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. No
I
Down syndrome. I
yeah.
had a stomach. My esophagus and windpipe were not fused together. Nothing. They couldn't find anything wrong. So that is where years later, really coming back to my roots and understanding the miracles that we are as people, coming back to that, reminding myself and reminding others that not only am I a golden child, not only am I a walking miracle, but you are too.
Yeah.
So that is where the golden child came from.
Yeah, that's a beautiful testimony. Now, is your sister older than you, or are you the oldest?
No, I'm the technically, biologically, the youngest.
Okay. So, because I know you said she had a few miscarriages before you came along, but she did carry some of your siblings to full term before you came along.
Yeah, my sister, she had her prematurely, but I think she had her at, I think it might have been 6 months, 6 or 7 months. But yeah, she's 3.5 years older than I am.
Okay. So, how do you get on the journey you're on with It's All in Me?
Yes. So life has a way of bringing you different experiences, some traumatic, some to help you grow, some to really be there to share them with other people so that they know that they're not alone.
Hmm.
I've had a lot of those experiences, starting with, childhood, dealing with childhood challenges and trauma, going through, experiences with my parents and their marriage and their relationship, So that's really where years later in 2018, once I finally started to open up and share about some of the traumatic experiences I had, and God kept confirming to me, like, you got to write a book. You got to write a book. You got to share your story. You got to share your experiences, because I had been suffering in silence for so long
Mm-hmm.
that it was part of my healing and therapeutic journey to write. As long as I could remember, I was journaling, but a lot of the stuff I was just keeping to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So the book was an outward expression of the inward work that I was doing to be able to share it with other people so that they'll know. Sorry,
That's okay.
my family in this Alexa stuff. But just getting to the point where I could share my experiences and share my story, that was the purpose of It's All in Me, to remind myself and others that you have everything within you that you need in order to heal, in order to succeed and overcome everything that life, may bring your way.
Okay. Now let's talk about that because I say that too, and because of experience and your own personal experiences, you understand that. So, how did you come to that knowledge? And when you say it's all in you, what exactly do you mean?
So when I say that, it's the meaning of that has really transformed even from the beginning of writing the book. I am a minister. I'm a licensed minister. You did mention that I'm a licensed minister, but I'm also an energy worker. I'm a healer. I do human design, which you mentioned as well. So my journey from solely being focused on the religious aspect of healing and what I learned from the church was originally what I meant in this version of the book. Meaning that you have the Holy Spirit within you, which I still believe in. Don't don't think anybody out there, like, yes, I still believe in the power of the Holy Spirit, but it's so much more out there to who we are and what God is calling us to do, me specifically, as far as healing work and supporting people with their healing journey. So It's All in Me means that you have the power, you have the ability to do everything that you need to do and have access to everything that you need in order to heal. I say all the time, if you give your being or your body what it needs and take away what it doesn't, it will do the work to heal itself.
Mhm.
We have the ability to heal if we remove those things that are not supportive, that are not nourishing, that are not going to help us get to the next phase of our lives, and really nourish ourselves, nourish our spirit, our soul, our body, our energetic body in the way that it needs to in order to evolve and transform into who God called and created us to be. We're
Mhm.
so much more than this physical body, but we often just focus on that because there's so much that we can see, but there's even more that we cannot see with our physical eye. So for me, when I say it's all in me, it's getting to the understanding that you're more than just your physical body, and understanding you have limitless capacity and limitless capability
Mhm.
that we sometimes either take advantage of or are not aware of.
Mhm. So, Jaleesa, and I get where you're coming from, right? How do somebody tap into that? And is that related to the human design? Is that a part of that?
Yes. Human design is what I call a personality test on steroids.
Mhm.
It's based off of your date of birth, your time of birth, and location of birth. And with this information, it produces a human design chart, which is only specific to you. Nobody else has your human design chart. Even if they were born on the same date, time, and in the same location, their human design chart is going to be different than yours. So if you think about our fingerprints, you think about our DNA, all of those things are different. This is more of a outward and also an inward look at the different aspects of your personality, of your life path, of the things that you're of your purpose. And it gives you this insight outside of the conditioning that we've been, conditioned to believe about ourselves, outside of society's idea of who we're supposed to be, outside of our experiences, whether traumatic or not. that have told us we're to be a certain way or not be a certain way. If you're like me, and there are 5 energy types inside of human design, and this is like the very level 1 of human design, and it's the main personality types of people. And there are 5. There are manifesting generators, which I am, manifestors, generators, reflectors, and projectors.
Mm-hmm.
Manifesting generators and generators make up 70% of the population. So majority of the people that you run across will be manifesting generators and generators. 20% of the population are projectors. 8% of the population are manifestors, and 1 to 2% are reflectors. And these personality types, or what some people call like overarching, they're in human design, they're called energy types.
Mm-hmm.
So that understanding of just that will show you just how you're showing up in the world that is not aligned with who you're truly created to be. And then be able to go deeper into your human design chart to see the different intricacies of who you are. And for me, when it comes to human design, I was in a space and place where I was going through, preparing to go through a divorce. I was in an abusive marriage, just had my youngest child. He was not even 1 month old at the time. And I had been introduced to human design before, but again, being in the church and being conditioned to believe that these types of things were, a certain way, or had a certain label put on them,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think twice about it. Now being in this space and place where it was, after the pandemic, I had been really studying the word, studying and getting into a different relationship with God, really understanding spirituality in a different way. So when human design was brought to me in 2022, I took a deeper look at it. And when I say that I was able to see myself so clearly than I've ever seen myself before, and start to release some of the labels that people put on me because of their beliefs or their understanding or their conditioning, it made me feel so seen and understood. It was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's what human design did for me. So it took me to this place where I could take off the labels, I could take off the experiences that I identified with, even to the point where I was identifying with dysfunction, I was identifying with abuse. Like that was just my life.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, understanding my human design, it took that veil off my eyes to see myself and even other people in a different way, to understand like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. The
Yeah.
way that I think, the way that I show up in the world, like there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah. I want
When
to briefly describe those 5 energy types, but before you do that, I want you to explain, because you said it's about the time of your birth, the day
Mhm.
of your birth, and what energy are we talking about? Like, what exactly are we talking about? Or like, what are we like what?
So when I say energy, I also have a background in biology and chemistry. So if you really think about it, everything is energy. At the basis of everything is protons, neutrons, electrons. So when I say energy, it's the stuff that makes up everything.
Mhm.
So when you can understand yourself on an energetic level, it shifts things in a way that when you try to think of it logically, it doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
But
So
when you,
it's just like the energetic, the energy of the earth on the time and the day you were born, or the stars, what was in the constellation.
yes, everything is the very moment that you were born. It's like thinking of the world as a puzzle. And the very moment you were born, the puzzle piece that the world needed was put in place.
Yeah, yeah.
because everything is connected. I know, like, people are probably like, what is she like? Literally, everything is connected.
Yeah.
So
And
when you think about the world,
everything's moving, everything's vibrating. So, like you said, you have that one stamp, your human design at the time you decided to be born, and that's specific to you. And that's beautiful.
exactly, your soul, your higher being decided at this very moment was when I'm going to physically enter the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that whatever puzzle piece that is needed at this time, the characteristics that you have, the personality that you have, even down to your physical features, that is what the world needed in that very moment. So
Mm-hmm.
when you enter, you fill the void that the world had.
Mm-hmm.
And human design helps you to see not only your individual puzzle piece in a different way, it helps to see how you're connected to the world in a bigger way.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what human design does. It literally helps you to see how even like this interaction is not by happenstance. The
Right.
way that we the way that we came together, the way that we connected, the way that we met, the energies aligned for it to happen that way.
Yeah.
The world, the times align for it to happen that way. I was born at a specific time and you were born at a specific time so that at this point in time we could be
Exactly.
here together.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So human design really opened up my eyes to be able to see things and understand that it's bigger than just me.
Mm-hmm.
My existence, my experiences are bigger than just me.
Yeah.
We impact each other without even knowing, just by being.
Yeah. Big time. I mean, it's big time. So, with that being said, and you said there's about the five major energy types, can you just briefly tell our listeners what that is in case somebody's like, man, I think I resonate with that, And then maybe they could reach out to you and just see if that really matches up.
Yes. And you can get your human design chart for free from my page and it'll give you more details on the different energy types.
Mm.
But briefly, I mentioned the five energy types. The manifesting generator, which I love to start with because I am a manifesting generator.
I am too.
We, oh, yes.
Yep, I am too.
I say that we're unique because we're the only hybrid type inside of human design. And as manifesting generators, we're the ones that I call us the life of the party because we have so much energy. We have so many different gifts and talents, so many different things that we want to do. We're able to multitask and move and just be the ones that are doing the work, but it also could seem like people call us like we're flaky or like we're all over the place, or we're a lot of times we're the ones that are diagnosed with ADHD.
That's
If you if you really look into it, it's like you'll see just the way that our brain works. We're not linear beings. Like we don't go from A to Z. We go from A to blue to zebra
yeah.
to to
Mhm.
start, like just the way that we do things, the way that we are, the way that we think, the way that we talk is not linear. So if
Mhm.
you're a manifesting generator and people have told you like why you don't finish, like why don't you finish anything that you start, why are you doing all of these different projects, we're very multifaceted, multi-talented, we have a lot of different things that we can do and that we love to do, and people might say, oh, you need to niche. No,
Mhm.
for manifesting generators, we are the niche. It's
Yeah,
not meant for us to niche.
yeah,
Okay. So
yeah. It's so true because I could start so many things and then I could lose interest in it. And that's when I realized I could start things for other people and then just say, hey, here you go, you could finish it up. Just because I'm a generator, I could create and do that kind of stuff. But I have learned to focus in on my top things that I love and stick to that. And I
yes.
have learned that I reserve my energy that way.
Yes, that's one of the most important things for manifesting generators and generators. Only do what lights you up.
Yeah.
Delegate or delete what
Yeah.
does not.
Yeah.
Because when we have the energy and the capacity to do it.
Yeah.
But the quickest way for us as manifesting generators to burn out is by doing things that do not light us up.
That's it.
And on a physical level, if you're a manifesting generator and you're doing things that don't light you up, you might have digestion issues. You might have, insomnia issues. There are a lot of health issues that manifesting generators can manifest physically because we're doing things that don't light us up.
Mhm. Yeah, and that happens for all humans, I believe. It happens to everybody. 'Cause
Because that's really the basis of human design is to support us with living the lives that light us up, living the lives that are aligned with who we're meant to be on this earth.
yeah. And that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful when you get that, when you understand that and you align with that, and your life becomes very beautiful at that time. You really, really do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So that's the manifesting generator.
Yes. And like I said, they're hybrid. They're a mixture of the manifestors and the generators. So they have qualities of both. The generators they're similar, but they're more so linear when it comes to the way that they do things and the way that they think. They're the ones that have the capacity to work on something and see it to completion. And
Mm,
it's important for them to do that, but it's also important for them to, knowing that, only do what lights them up.
hmm.
Because if you start something and it doesn't light you up, it's like you still got to see it through.
Yeah.
Because it's not as
Yeah.
easy for generators to pivot
Yeah.
and move and pick something different.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, as a generator, again, it's important for you to know and tap into it, sit still and get quiet enough to hear from your inner authority, your inner guide, Holy Spirit, whatever you call it, to know, okay, this is something that lights me up. I can decide that this is something that I'm going to do, a relationship that I'm going to pursue, a career that I'm going to pursue. Because if you decide, even if it doesn't light you up and you get started with it, it's going to be
You feel
very
like you
hard for you
gotta
to
see it
pivot.
out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So for generators, they again have the energy and the capacity to do the work and see it through to completion. Unlike manifesting generators, where we like, if it don't light us up no more, I'm out. I'm out. But
Yeah.
generators, you got to see it through. So the next one I mentioned was the projectors. They make up 20% of the population. They don't have the capacity to produce their own energy.
Mm.
Their energy comes from the nourishing food that they eat and rest. They need rest, naps, short work time frames, 2 to 3 hours for projectors. It's sustainable. It's easy for them to get sick and burn out and end up in a space and place where they're unwell because if they're not eating nourishing foods and they're really masking in the world that says, oh, you got to work 8 hours.
Yeah.
You got to hustle. You got to grind. You got to get it. You got to get to it in a world where it says just do it. Projectors are not designed like that.
Wow. Mm.
They need to have those short work time frames and then rest, take naps, eat nourishing foods to replenish their energy.
So why projectors can't produce energy of their own? And
That's
I'm asking that question from somebody that generates energy all the time. But like I don't even understand that. Like, how do you not produce energy of your own?
so there are sensors within the human design chart.
What?
And in those sensors, if you look at your human design chart, you'll see the different sensors. The sacral for manifesting generators and generators is where we produce our energy. And it's defined or colored in on the chart. Projectors don't have those energy centers.
Mm.
Those are white. So in order for them to have energy in their sacral, they either have to be connected to someone who has their sacral defined, or they have to make sure that they're eating nourishing foods or resting in order to produce the energy that they need.
That is so, that's so good. That's so good. And that makes sense. Because I'm big on making sure all those energy centers are open up and down, those chakra wheels, all of that. And I believe that no matter who you are, that's our job to kind of get those energy centers up, balanced and in harmony so that you got that energy flowing in and out. Now, if you're a projector, can you work on these things? Or is that just your human design and that is just not in the cards for you this lifetime?
Yeah, it's just how you're designed. It's what your soul decided to have, what your soul decided their experience was going to be this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And every energy type has a specific role to play.
Mm-hmm.
So for the projectors, they're the behind the scenes leaders to lead and guide you and show you and project out to you what they see. They're the ones that can show you, lead you and guide you to say, okay, I see what you're doing there. Let me show you so you can see from a different perspective what's really going on.
I get it.
But for them, they can't initiate. One, because they don't have the energy to do it. But by design, they're meant to wait for an invitation. They have a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge, a lot of things that they can share, but they have to wait to be invited to share that information.
I see. They're not initiators. They're not. They're just gonna, okay.
And nobody really,
Yeah.
other than the 8% of the population that are manifestors, are to like have an urge and initiate off of that urge.
Mm-hmm.
Even for us as manifesting generators, even though we have a part of us that is a manifester, we're supposed to wait for something to respond to and then initiate.
Mm-hmm.
So that Nike slogan, just do it, that's for manifestors. That only for manifestors, the 8% of the population that are manifestors.
That's interesting.
But society
Yeah.
has conditioned us to just do it.
Yeah. And then you're forced into things that you don't even have the energy for, one. You probably don't have the energy, and it's against your whole human design.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is so good. All right. Was that all?
So,
No,
nope.
there's
I
one more.
talked about the manifestors. The manifestors, like I said, those are the initiators. Those are the upfront leaders that can delegate. Like they definitely need to delegate because just like manifesting generators, if something doesn't light us up, we're not going to stick with it.
Mhm.
Manifestors are the initiators. They're not going to see most of the things that they do to completion. So it's important if you're dealing with a manifester, it's like, okay, like I know they'll have an urge and then their energy will dip. And
Mm.
then it's like, yeah, I'm done with it. And you're
Mhm.
like, you were literally just all excited, all like you were all into it.
Yeah, yeah.
What
Okay. All
happened?
right. So listen up, manifestors out there. You got to see it through, okay? Or don't start it.
No, not necessarily. You gotta have a team and
Yeah.
support system around you to delegate to.
Yeah. Agree.
Because that's your role to initiate, to have the vision, to have the idea and initiate it and say, okay, this is I'm I'm done with it. Here you go.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That I'm telling you, you're talking, but I just feel myself in all this, some things that you're saying. Okay. So,
And then I talked about the manifesting generators, I talked about the generators, talked about the projectors and the manifestors. The rarest human design energy type are the reflectors.
okay.
And that's only 1 to 2% of the population. So if you come across someone who's a reflector, this is someone that you want to keep around in your life because but you won't know unless you are aware or understand human design.
Hmm.
Because the thing about reflectors, they're the chameleons. So
Mm.
whoever they're around, whoever they feel like being for the day, or whoever they feel like they need to be for the day, that's who they can show up as. They can show up as a manifesting generator. They can show up as a generator. They can show up as a reflector, as a projector. They can show up as a manifester, and you won't know it unless you know human design. And you're like, oh, they're a reflector. That's why they have quote unquote all these different personalities and all these ways of being
Ah,
because they flow with the energy. They flow with what they need in that moment
I
and
got.
what the other people around them need in that moment.
Hmm.
So they're able to see from a vantage point that nobody else can because they're able to have the experiences of all the different energy types
Hmm.
and able to have a wisdom and knowledge picked up from those experiences that other people wouldn't be able to.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
So for reflectors, just like projectors, they have no
Energy.
um
Their own.
all their energy center, all of their centers are white. So they're constantly picking up energy from other people, other places, and other things. So it's important for them, just like projectors, to eat nourishing food and get rest
Wow.
and release the energy that they pick up. Because literally all of their centers are open. They're constantly picking up energy from anywhere and everywhere.
Okay.
But that's also what makes it easy for them to be a chameleon when they're around other people, because they're picking up their energy and their centers to say, okay, I'm a feed off of their energy so I can show up as a manifesting generator for this moment in time.
Mm-hmm. Now, is the goal to know your energy type, but is it also to somehow master your energy type or align to the highest version of that? What is the point and how do we use this for our advantage in our everyday life?
Definitely understanding and aligning with it. I don't think we'll ever quote unquote master it, because we're constantly having new experiences. We're constantly evolving. Energy is constantly changing. And of course, like I said, being around different people, you're going to pick up certain habits. Like, so for example, if you're a manifester and you were raised by a manifesting generator and a generator, you're going to have certain attributes of those two energy types because that's who you were raised by.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you've been conditioned from a young age to act as the energy types that you were raised with.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So as you get older, if you start to study your human design and you understand and know, it's like, oh, that came from my mom. Oh, that came from my dad. That is not how I was designed to be or designed to live.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got it. Okay.
So
Now,
it, and even in relationships. So say for example, your partner, they have what is called the will center defined and you don't.
mm-hmm,
That partnership enables you to have a willpower that you wouldn't have had you not been with that partner.
mm-hmm,
So I talked about the puzzle pieces of the world. Literally, it's puzzle pieces of your design and my design that we're feeding off of each other's energy even as we speak. So say for example, if my throat chakra is defined, I mean my throat center is defined, there are the chakra system is included inside of human design.
mm-hmm.
So if I say chakra or center, it's the same thing.
Listen, I get it. I know. I'm good with all this. Trust me. We're good. I get it.
So if we're in a space where my throat center is defined, yours might not be. In that situation, you might have the capacity or the ability to speak about something that you normally wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
because you're feeding off of my energy.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. Like everybody has open or white spaces in their human design chart.
So
And that's where the puzzle pieces
when
come
you
in.
say white spaces, are you referring to that as an open chakra? Is that okay?
Yes, open. There are centers, there are channels. It's very deep, very, very like there's a
Yeah.
lot of
Yep.
intricacies to human design. But when I say white, I mean open, where you're able to receive energy
Mm-hmm.
from another person.
Now, let me ask you this, Jalisa, because I get that, when we connect with people, it is sometimes for people to mirror, to reflect, for you to learn, all of that. But could this also cause issues? Like you just said, if my throat chakra is open and I'm very communicative and you're not, could that cause an issue?
Yes, if you're not aware of what's going on, if you're not aware of your human design and the other person's human design, you might be like, why you? I'm trying to talk to you about something. Like, what's the issue?
Yeah. So it's like we need to understand our human design, the other person's human design, and also be okay with accepting it or deciding, you know what, I need a different human design for my growth, right? Or something.
Yes. And
Yeah.
there's a way, and you can also do relationship or composite charts on my website as well, where it'll show you the different aspects of how your human design and how this other person's human design mesh or don't mesh.
Nice.
Okay. So it's when I say I love human design for this very reason,
Yeah.
because it not only helps you to understand yourself, but if you get into it, it'll help you to understand the people around you and how, like I said, how compatible you are or not compatible with someone in the different areas where you might have challenges in a relationship with someone that you're not compatible with.
Exactly. That's what we need in marriage therapy and stuff like that because people don't understand. You know, they'll be like, "Well, I'm trying to communicate my feelings," and they don't communicate. Well, that chakra is not even open. They don't even have the capacity, like you say. So, all right. Now, my next question is: You're a licensed minister. And this is energy. This is really how your soul came in, the energetic alignment of the cosmos. How are you integrating this? How did you have issues integrating this? Coming from a religious background that's to me very metaphorically, designed for morals and stuff like that to energy, something that's very almost science. I mean, it's science, really, if we really break it down. So, how have you been able to integrate that? And how has that process been for you?
Internally, it's been easy.
Okay. Yeah.
Like doing the work and shifting my belief, shifting my mindset around human design, and really it being a gift from God for
Mhm.
us to be able to understand ourselves in a way that we're able to be who He called and created us to be.
Mhm.
And knowing more about ourselves, we learn more about our creator. Because it's like, oh,
Mhm.
you were very intentional about how you created me.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
these are the aspects of who I am that you want to use here, that you want to use in these relationships, that you want to use on these platforms. It's like it helped me to really have a stronger and more powerful relationship with God. It became about the relationship and my experience in that relationship versus it being about religion.
Mhm.
Now, externally, okay, people hearing, oh, she's a minister, or within the church, oh, you a minister and you doing that. Oh, you a minister and you believe in that. Yeah, I do. Like there are a lot of closed-minded people within the church that will say, "Oh, human design is demonic," or "Human design is not of God." They'll have certain opinions and certain beliefs, and it's like, look, you can slap a label on anything and make it whatever you want it to be.
That's true.
Like human design can be used for bad, and it can also be used for good. The way that I'm using it is to support people with their healing journey and understanding who they are and who God called and created them to be.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
for me internally, but really thinking about it, it's the same thing, but just with a different label.
Yeah.
Spirituality, the spirit realm, energy, it's the same thing. You
Yeah.
just calling it something different.
It is. It is. It is. I agree with you. Um, my next question was, it's kind of switching gears a little bit, because you're also a holistic health practitioner. So what do you do in that role? How are you assisting people in that role?
Yes. So human design is included in the holistic because
Okay.
again, it's spiritual, self-awareness, understanding energy. So when I say holistic health, it's about getting to the root cause of whatever disease or ailment or challenge that you're having and
Mm-hmm.
dealing with it from a whole person perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the spiritual aspects, looking at the mental aspects, looking at the emotional aspects, looking at the energetic aspects, and even financial, because I am a money certified professional.
Mm.
So, really encompassing all the things that we are. And one of the biggest things that we have to that we get to, I'm not gonna say we have to, that we get to relate to as far as money, because money is all around us. Like, and
It's
then
energy.
it's energy.
Energy. Yep.
That's exactly what I was about to say. But the impact that finances have on our spiritual, mental, physical, emotional health, that's one of the reasons why I incorporate it into the work that I do with people. because it's such an important aspect of who we are and what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's why when I say holistic health and being a holistic health practitioner, it's incorporating the human design. It's incorporating the trauma of money work. It's incorporating the functional medicine where I do things like hair tissue mineral analysis that will, you can take a sample of your hair, we'll send it off to the lab, we'll get a report back, and I'm able to analyze and see what's going on physically, where you can make diet changes, where you can see where you have heavy metals in your system, and we can kind of do some research to see where it's coming from. The energetic work that I do, that supports you with the mental and the limiting beliefs that might keep you stuck, because it's like, okay, I've addressed the physical, I've addressed the other aspects, so what's going on?
Yep.
There are some limiting beliefs that you've been conditioned to believe and also may not even be aware of that's
Yep.
keeping you stuck.
Yep. Limiting beliefs are big, and healing, as we know, and I'm from the medical world, right? The medical industry. But healing is being very multidimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if we just talk about the training of most healthcare professionals in this country, in the United States, it's very limited. It's very physical based. It's very symptomatic,
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis, medication based. But that's not true healing. And I incorporate both in what I do. And I love it because we have to meet people where they are.
Yes.
And you can't just force people into holistic treatment when they can't even wrap their minds around that. So I love bridging. I love saying, hey, listen, I know you may want this antibiotic or this and this, but here's some information. Just see how you feel about it. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. And that's how you bridge it, because you got to go where the need is. You can't just be like, here, we're going to do holistic. But everybody, 90% of the population is over here on medication, but you're over here trying to force holistic. You got to go over there and bridge it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I'm in the process of being trained to become a doula.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things she talked about in our marketing class, she said people are looking for things that are fast, easy, and cheap.
Yeah.
When it comes to like healing or having an issue
And that's
physically,
programming. That's program.
yes, that's what people are looking for. Give me the antibiotic because I know in 7 days, 14 days, whatever, it's gonna be cleared up. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be all right.
Yep.
But what's gonna happen?
Yep.
What other symptoms are gonna be produced from that?
Yep.
What other issues are gonna be produced from that?
Yep.
It's
It's
like they want this, they want healing, but they want it to be fast, easy, and cheap. Okay. My insurance won't cover the medications. Okay. My insurance won't cover the visit. But my insurance not gonna cover them supplements or the coaching or the other work.
that's
So
true.
I'm gonna go ahead and go with this over here because it's fast, it's easy, and it's cheap.
And it's true. And then and I work in it and I see it and I know that. I think education is so important. Coaching is so important. I mean, all day, every day, coaching, educating people, because what we know, right? We just said that we're all connected in this energy, and that as a collective humanity, we created this. We created
Mhm.
this fast, cheap, um,
Easy.
easy healing. And that's really not true healing. So we have to auto-correct it. We have to change it around. And it's going to take some time. It's not
Mhm.
going to happen overnight. But I think that people like you who's doing what you're doing is beautiful. Being open-minded to healing and also allowing that to be pushed out into the world and using your own journey to do it. Because I always say, the healer has to first heal themselves.
Absolutely.
So, but it's gonna take some time and we have to bridge it because 90% of humanity is what you just said, fast, cheap.
Easy.
Exactly.
It's
And
like if I can, if the doctor can, I got this issue. I'm gonna go to the doctor. They're gonna say, okay, it's this. Okay, I'm gonna give you this pill in 14 days, 21 days. You're gonna be all right.
yeah,
That's easy. Because
That's
you can pop a pill and keep it moving. You don't got to deal with the emotional blocks. You don't got to deal with the spiritual things that you've experienced that is really the manifestation of what you're going through physically.
yeah.
Everything that you're going through physically is a manifestation of the energy or the spirit realm. Okay, whichever you call it, but it's a manifestation of something bigger than just you.
Yep. I say it all the time. I'm in the medical exam room and I am saying that to the people that's coming in with illnesses. Listen, this is just the physical manifestation, but it started in the mental emotional layer. So we have to also attack it there. And let me tell you, it's hard work. It's hard because they'll listen to you say that and still, okay, well, what I need to take? What prescription I need?
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
it is hard work. So I'm happy to know you're doing what you're doing. That's important. This is not easy work. Is hard work. It's very hard. And you have to be called to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like a lot of people go, but they were not sent because
Exactly.
it's like they see it as an opportunity. They see it as an opportunity to make money, or they see it as whatever, to be seen or whatever. But it's like if you're not called to this work, it will eat you up and spit you
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, it is something I mean you're wired for. You're wired for.
You're designed for it. It's in your design.
It's in your design. I agree. All right, Jalisa. So you work with women. I do know that. I saw that, in some of your work. What do you think is important in this season right now for our women to know and to integrate or to awaken to?
One realization that I had recently, going through a divorce and really rebuilding my life, rebuilding, you know, my entire being, with the support of human design, with the support of, my community, accountability, like those things. But recently, when you think about value, when you think about worth, things of not feeling like you're enough, not feeling like you're worthy because of your experiences, you were born worthy.
Mm-hmm.
You were born valuable. You were born enough. And there is no limit to your enoughness. There's no limit to your value. There is no limit to your worth.
Yeah.
Your experiences, other people, what has happened to you, it cannot take away or add to that.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you show up in the world is just an expression of the limitless value, enoughness, and worthiness that you are.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when we can shift our mindset around that as women, we can become so much more powerful, get so much more accomplished, and make so much more impact, not even just on the world, but in our households.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where we need to make the biggest impact
Absolutely.
because we're nurturing generations of both men and women, and it starts in
Mm-hmm.
households. But we have, and generations before us, before you and I, we were somehow tricked to believe that we needed to go out and make money. We need to go into the corporations, we needed to leave our homes and go make money. And our families suffered, our children suffered, the nurturing suffered, and we could see collectively the generations suffered.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I choose to homeschool my kids.
Hmm.
Whether the finances are flowing in or not, I'm like, look, I'm staying home with my babies
Mm-hmm.
because that is going to be one of the most impactful things. Being able to nurture them and pour into them and teach them the things that are going to support them with being an adult, with living life outside of the household. Because it's like you go to school and what are you taught? What do you leave with other than a
Yeah,
piece of paper
yeah, it is.
or how to pass a test? Memorize something to pass the test and then you dump it as soon as the test is over.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. They are definitely being trained to
Program. It's a program so
program.
that you can go into their corporations and continue to put money in their pockets, continue to, even for Black and brown children,
Yeah.
to end up in jailhouses that's making them even more money.
Mm-hmm. No,
So it's like, for me, it's like breaking that mold, breaking that cycle to say, you know what, I'm going to make sure my children understand their history, understand their heritage, understand the things that is going to take in order to be a Black child in this world and be successful in your own way.
yeah,
Not the way that the world tells you, oh, that's success, the cars, the money, the XYZ. Yes, that's all fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, what does that really matter? Can you relate? Can you have a positive and healthy relationship with another person?
that's whew. It's important, and I feel like we're at a tipping point now that we have to make the changes. And I feel, and that's why I asked you that question, that women are being called during this season to change, to nurture their homes, their children, to change it up. Because what I do know is that where we do point our energy, we succeed, we create, we do it all.
Absolutely.
And we've done it outside the home for the corporations, for all these things outside the home. But I think if we redirect our energy back into our tribe, our families, our home, our children, we're going to create an amazing nation.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take time, but
Yes.
we got the generators that got to start, the manifestors, right? You got those people, those leaders that have to initiate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And be in proper alignment with
Yeah.
their leadership and their position. Because you can be a manifester. Hitler was a manifester. And what
Yeah,
did he do?
you're right.
What
Alignment.
what did he do?
Yeah, like what energy are you
Gotta,
aligning with?
yes. What are you
Agree.
aligning with and what are you aligning to? So
Exactly.
that you're leading people in a direction that is going to be beneficial for the collective and not just beneficial for you, not
Exactly.
just beneficial for the mission that you want to see. So really, like you said, coming back home, but realizing your first home is you.
Yeah,
So
that's
when you can get this home together, your external home is going to be impacted.
yeah. I mean, that's definitely what it's about because at the end of the day, we're here to awaken the Christ consciousness that's within us first. Then you could help light the light of others, but you got to kind of you got to get that consciousness within you first.
You
So,
got to fill your cup up first. Like
yeah.
they say, you got to put your mask on first. You got to fill your cup up first. And I tell people all the time, I am at the point where I fill my cup up to overflow.
Oh,
I
yeah.
give from the overflow and keep what's in the cup for me.
Absolutely.
If I
You
don't have no
are
overflow, I
overflow.
don't have nothing for you.
Yeah, I can only live from the overflow. Everything else is in my cup, is mine. I'm just trust me, I'm with you on that. So you talk also about the five F's to freedom. Can you just briefly describe that? Because I believe freedom is our birthright. Like it's our birthright. Like we're here to be free. We're here to grow in consciousness, to grow our spirit, our soul. We're spiritual beings having a beautiful human experience, like you say, to explore all these different energies, all these different things that's around us. So, how do we get to freedom?
Yes. The freedom framework, unknowingly, was what helped me to free myself and emancipate myself from the abusive marriage that I was in. I wrote my book, I self published my book February. I got married August of that same year. The freedom framework, the five F's to freedom for me at the time were faith, friends and family, having a support system, having a good therapist, having the people around you that are going to support you when those challenging times come where you feel like giving up, where you feel like, it might be easier if I wasn't even here
And
because
you
you
know what? It's
experienced so
not
much
if
pain.
those challenges come, is when they come, because they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
come. That's just the law of rhythm. You got
Mm-hmm.
up and you got down. It's just when the pendulum swings. So
And
it's
how you're going to respond to them, what you're going to do in response to those challenges.
yeah, that's good.
So, faith, what's your mindset? What are you believing about yourself, about your situation?
Hmm.
What are you believing is even about the world, about the people around you? Like what are you thinking of here? So faith, your belief, your understanding, your mindset, friends and family, you having a support system, having accountability. Because it's easy to say, oh, okay, I want to accomplish something, I want to do something. But when you have people in your corner to say, hey, sis, you said you wanted to do X, Y, Z, you like, oh, let me go ahead and get over here back to this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The third part is forgiveness. Man,
That's big. Yeah.
that right there. But again, it starts with
Unforgiveness
you.
will give you cancer. It'll give you, I mean, major sickness. I mean, the research is out that a lot of breast cancer in
Mm-hmm,
women is linked to anger, unforgiveness,
mm-hmm.
lots of that. So forgiveness is, I mean, that's major.
Yes, and that's why I incorporated it into the freedom framework because it's so important. But again, it starts with you. If you don't have the capacity or the ability to forgive yourself, it's going to be or receive forgiveness from God, source, higher power, whatever whatever you call it, it's going to be very hard for you to forgive others
Yeah.
because you don't even have it to give. You haven't received it and you haven't given it to yourself.
Hmm.
So forgiveness is is vital. Like it's literally things that we experience on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. And before you move on, I think when we talk about that heart chakra, and there's no coincidence that heart disease is the number one killer. All right. There's no, like, we got to think about all this is connected.
Mm-hmm.
People can't open their heart chakra if you have not forgiven
Mm-hmm.
yourself, forgiven whoever it is. And most times is forgiven self that, for most people, because a lot of people tend to forgive other people, but it's almost like there's something about themselves that they can't forgive. But I think that blockage in the heart chakra, and while people can't open that up, and as we know, if that's blocked, we don't tap into our higher centers that connects us to that
Mm-hmm.
divine energy. You're operating in the lower energy chakras.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Energy, you can call it energy, you can call it spirit, you can call it even love. It's meant to flow.
Meant to flow.
It's meant to
Yes, thank
flow.
you. You just said that. And I always say you suffer when you don't allow the flow of life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We suffer.
So when we use our heart space, our heart chakra, as a storage for all the hurt, all the pain, all the experiences that, we felt like we should have never experienced or things that people put us through. When we use our heart as a storage, instead of a space for energy and love to flow, that's when we're in bondage. That's when we get stuck. That's when we get sick. That's when, all of these things are happening in our lives and we're like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
That's because you got so much stored up in your heart that you can't even receive the blessings that are for you to receive. You can't even receive the people that are aligned for you to receive because you got so much stored up in your heart that's not meant to be there.
And it's so true. It's so true.
So when it manifests as a heart attack at 25, you like,
Yeah.
what's in your heart? What are you storing in your heart that's not meant to be there?
Hmm.
So forgiveness, forgiveness. The there's two different versions because the original version from the book was, of course, what God originally gave me, and over the years it has evolved.
Yeah.
So, the fourth one in the book is feeding your mind, but I changed it to feeding your being because, like I said, we're an entire being.
Yeah.
So, what are you eating? Not just physically. What are you eating? What are your ears listening to? What are your eyes watching and seeing
Yeah.
that is feeding your being? Because we know what you're eating, what you're ingesting, what you're taking in is going to come out.
Yeah.
So when you have these experiences where it's a challenge or something that it's a lesson for you to learn, when your response is like, look, I don't even want to deal with it, or you're exploding or you're avoiding those, that's showing you that you're not giving your body the proper nourishment. You're not giving your being the proper nourishment. And you're not allowing yourself to filter to say, okay, this isn't for me. I'm gonna go ahead and release that. It might be a negative thing that somebody said, a negative thing that somebody did. It's like, you know what? I'm not even going to take that personal because that wasn't for me. That's their issue. That's
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to take that in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
feeding your team, being intentional about what you're watching, who you're around, the energy that you're taking in.
it's so important. I mean, it's beyond important. People have no idea when you sitting there watching Netflix, watching, I don't know, reality TV, you're listening to the drama, all of that is lodging. All of that is lodging, just
Mm-hmm.
registering. And you're taking all of that in. And you're gonna mirror that back out into your life in one way, shape, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep. So it's you cannot be free when you're holding on to baggage and bondage. When you're holding on to things and taking in things that are not for you to take in. When
Mm-hmm.
you're allowing social media to tell you, oh, this is the life that you should have because this person is doing this, they're taking trips, they're doing XYZ, they've got the house, they've got the marriage, they've got the kids. No, protect yourself, protect your heart, protect your being, and focus inward on where God has for you to be. Understand your human design, understand your life path, understand what lights you up so that you're not following things or trying to do things just because, oh, they're doing it, or I see it all the time on social media, or I see it on TV. Like, no, does that even, would it even light you up to go there?
Exactly.
Like, or is it just because you see somebody else doing it
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like that's the path? No, you have your own individual path. And that's why in the book, the last chapter, the last part of the freedom framework is finding your own path.
That's important. That's important. And you'll
Because
find
that's true
people.
freedom,
That's true freedom. Absolutely. And
walking your own path.
you'll thrive there. You'll thrive on that path because it's your path. You were designed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's beautiful. It's all in me. It's all within. Everything's within. The freedom is within. The love is within. The joy is within. The abundance, the prosperity. It's all within you. It's all there. So,
Yep.
Jalisa, I have two questions and then we're going to wrap it up. What is a book that helped you along your way that you could recommend to our listeners? I think reading is so important. It lodges in our subconscious mind sometimes when we could read it, see the words, whatever. What is a book you could recommend for our listeners?
Of course, my book is all in me, but
Mhm.
but there's a book that I'm actually currently reading, and it goes into the science and also the spirituality of your mindset. It's called Psycho Cybernetics. I don't know the author off the top of my head, but it talks about a lot of the things that it talks about forgiveness. It talks about relating to people. It talks about shifting your mindset and a perspective of things. And it's like, it's an amazing book. It's definitely an amazing book. I found it on YouTube, the audiobook on YouTube, but one of my coaches recommended it and it's an amazing book. Once you
Okay.
get into it, you'll see like yes, the science side, but also the spiritual and energetic side of it and how it is how it's all connected.
It's all connected. It's all connected. And on my journey, I was never indoctrinated religiously. I grew
Mm-hmm.
up Catholic. I went to a Baptist church in college, but I always went along with the beat of my own drum. I always
Mm-hmm.
listened to my spirit. I always went on that. So I never was indoctrinated with scriptures and all that. I listened and I went and I trusted spirit and I moved with that. But I just, where was I going with that? What was we talking about?
Look, we manifesting generators. It that's just how it goes.
I know, but I was going somewhere with that. Anyway, okay. Because we was talking about the book.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And I was talking about psycho-cybernetics, how the spirit and the science are connected, how it's all connected.
okay, that's it. So I was never indoctrinated, but I understood the spirit of myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then going through medical training, all of that, you get very science, you get all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But in my journey, I learned both sides. And that's when I understood, wait, it's the same thing, it's just
Mm-hmm.
using different terminology. And
Yes.
where I would have said the Holy Spirit, I'm like, what is it's energy? But it's this
Energy.
divine energy, it's a love energy, is not just any energy because we got anger, we got jealousy, we got
Different frequencies.
there we go.
Different frequencies.
Different frequencies. And that's when I started to understand frequency, vibration. So okay, energy is energy. If you think about it, it's never destroyed. You can only transfer. God is everywhere, cannot be destroyed, all powerful, all knowing, in all places at all time. That's energy. So I started to just play with it and realize, whoa, this is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I use the word that resonate on that day, that time, who I'm speaking to, but it's the same thing.
It's the exact same
And
thing.
when you tap into the higher levels of that, then you're tapping into a very almost pure energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
not distorted because as energy comes down, it distorts, right? Depending on our programming, our beliefs, our
Mm-hmm.
limited beliefs. That energy can't quite come pure because it gets distorted through our aura, what we have, our hurts, our pains, the things that's lodged in our energy fields. So the more we clear that out, the clearer it comes. So, but that's where I was going with all that.
Yes.
All right, so that's the book. And the last question is, what would you say is the greatest matter of your heart today?
That's a good question. Hmm. I think the greatest matter of my heart is my mission, the work that I'm doing.
Yeah,
Um, and my mission is to guide people to see and be their most authentic selves,
yeah,
uncover and release limiting beliefs, and unleash the golden child within.
that's beautiful.
That, for me, that's the biggest matter of my heart
Yeah,
because it's like I'm doing that in my home, I'm doing that within myself, and also the different things that I do, my YouTube channel, my meetup groups, with the work that I do in my business, like becoming a doula, all of those things are going towards my mission. Because the more we can be and see our most authentic selves, the better the world will be.
yeah,
Because it's about relationships. Relationships are the true currency. So it starts with your relationship with God and you, and that goes out into your relationships with others.
yeah. That's facts. That's definitely facts. And I believe I love that golden child analogy because when you think about gold, it's rich, so rich. And gold is one of the purest metals that's out here. And, even our current dollar, they're saying that gold may be what it's going to be backed by. So that's so pure, it's so rich, I love that. And I think we do all have that golden child within us, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
We're all divine beings. We're all literally walking miracles. The fact that the blood is pumping through our veins, our heart is beating, oxygen is being exchanged every time that we breathe. Like we are literally walking miracles. The fact that we are here on this earth right now, we are all golden children.
Yeah.
But the way that you manifest that out into the world is going to look one way or another. It's going to look like the gold,
That's
or
that's
it's
a
going to look
good
like
point.
something different.
Yeah. And that's why I said energy gets distorted according to our beliefs, our traumas, our unhealed wounds, but it can become pure and more refined, and it just becomes pure gold. That's beautiful. All right, Jalisa. So how can our listeners find you?
Yes, I'm spending a lot of time these days on YouTube, in the process of monetizing my YouTube page. So I've been doing my podcast over there. I have a story time Saturday where you hear more about the different experiences that I've had. I do something over there called Wealth Wednesday where I talk about the different avenues of wealth and streams of income and different things that come through. But mostly on YouTube right now. I'm on LinkedIn and my website, jalisahardy.com. My YouTube is youtube.com/ at Jalisa the Golden Child. If you Google Jalisa the Golden Child, I'm gonna come up everywhere.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Jalisa, I appreciate you. This has been a beautiful, beautiful podcast. And guys, remember, it's all within you. It's all within all of us. Anything you need is already there. You just have to take the time, surrender. I always tell people surrender
Mhm.
is important because the distractions are real. Everything out here is to distract you from going within. But if you go within, it's all there. Everything you ever could want is there, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, Jalisa, I appreciate you. Guys, this has been another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. Again, this podcast is inspired by love, relationships, spirituality, justice, culture, family, children, finances, freedom, universal principles, personal growth, energy and vibration, health, education, masculine and feminine energies, music, and all things of the heart and soul. This is how we reconnect our hearts with our minds for perfect alignment. Take care, guys, and we'll see you at the next episode.